You hear about AI all the time, right? It's going to automate our jobs, drive our cars. But what if that's just scratching the surface? What if AI is quietly developing a hidden superpower, something we're only now starting to see? So yeah, let's just push aside all those typical headlines for a second. We're going to dive into this idea that the real game-changing power of AI has been popping up right under our noses, and most of us haven't even noticed.
See, on one side, you've got the AI we all expected. The one that's great at automation, making things more efficient, finding patterns in data. Super useful stuff. But then, there's this other thing happening. We're suddenly seeing AI pick up brand new skills, whole new ways of thinking, even getting creative. Things that nobody, and I mean nobody, programmed into them. And that's the mystery we're going to unravel.
So you gotta ask, where is this all coming from? Well, the crazy part is it doesn't just grow bit by bit. Nope, it seems to just appear all at once. A huge sudden leap forward that happens when these AI models get really, really big. And of course, researchers have a cool name for it, emergent abilities. The best way to think about it is like water turning into ice. You can cool water down degree by degree and it's just cold water. But then you hit that one magic point, 0 degrees Celsius, and bam, it suddenly becomes something totally different, ice. The theory here is kind of the same. Once an AI model gets big enough, it has so many connections that it can start combining simple ideas in totally new ways. And suddenly, these brand new, complex skills just emerge. And check this out. These graphs show it perfectly. Look at the performance for something like 3-digit math, or even writing computer code. For the smaller models, it's basically flat, like 0. They just can't do it. But then you hit this critical size, and whoosh, the accuracy just shoots through the roof. It's not a slow climb. It's like flipping a switch. Okay, so this isn't just some theory stuck in a lab or a research paper. We're actually seeing this happen out in the real world. And the proof is so solid, it's catching even the top experts completely off guard. I mean, listen to this from Microsoft CEO Satya Nadella. He said they were just training their big language models on, text from the internet. And out of nowhere, the model just figured out how to write code, and it got good at it. That was a total surprise, a completely emergent skill that kind of changed the whole name. But it gets even crazier. So OpenAI decides to test its GPT-4 model on a simulated bar exam. Now, this is a notoriously hard test, designed for highly trained lawyers, right? Well, the AI didn't just pass. It scored in the 90th percentile. Now get this, its predecessor, GPT 3.5, could barely squeak by in the 10th percentile. That's not just an improvement. That's a mind-blowing leap in legal reasoning from one generation to the next, just by making it bigger and feeding it more data. And this is happening all over the place. In materials science, an AI dreamed up over 1 million new stable materials nobody knew existed. In medicine, a different model took the first stage of drug discovery from a 5-year slog down to just 18 months. And some AI systems can now predict kidney failure in a patient up to 48 hours before a human doctor would even see the signs. It's just, wow. But what really gets me is the speed. Just look at this timeline. Progress that used to take decades is now being crunched into a few years, sometimes just a few months. The pace isn't just fast, it's accelerating like a rocket. Okay, so we've seen all these amazing examples. But what's the common thread here? What is this new superpower when you boil it all down? Well, let's call it Emergent Insight Generation. Basically, it's the ability to look at these massive, insane amounts of information and spot connections that are totally invisible to a human brain. We're talking about links between things that are way too complex or too subtle or, frankly, just too weird for us to ever figure out ourselves. And this is the key thing you have to understand. This isn't just about finding patterns that are already there. It's about figuring out totally new principles from all of that data. It's gone from being a pattern matcher to being an actual engine for discovery. It's almost like having an oracle that can find brand new knowledge that was hidden in the data all along. Okay, but with a power this big, there are obviously going to be some major risks. It's not all sunshine and breakthroughs. We have to be real and talk about the downsides. And some of the counter-arguments, too. So here's the catch. These things are nowhere near perfect. For one, they can hallucinate, which means they can just make stuff up and state it like it's a fact. They can also absorb and even amplify all the biases from the data they were trained on. Then there's security. What if one of these unpredictable new skills could be used for something malicious? And bottom line, they're just not fully reliable yet. They're powerful, for sure, but you still need a human in the loop.
And there's this really interesting counter-argument from some researchers. They're asking, hey, is this emergence thing real or is it just an illusion? Their idea is that maybe these skills aren't popping up out of nowhere. Maybe they're growing slowly and steadily the whole time, but our tests just aren't good enough to notice until the skill crosses some big obvious threshold. It's a really important debate because it changes everything about whether we can predict what AI will be able to do next. So you've got this immense power on one hand and some serious risks on the other. Where does that leave us? Well, the most powerful way to look at this whole thing isn't about humans being replaced. It's about the start of a whole new kind of partnership. And this right here is the core idea. This isn't about AI replacing us. It's about AI expanding us. Think of it like getting a new sense, a way to see the world that was impossible before. It's a tool that can amplify our own intelligence, our own creativity, and help us tackle problems that we used to think were completely out of our reach. So look, the question isn't, is this superpower real? The evidence is pretty clear that it is. The real question, the one for all of us, is, now that it's here, how are we going to wield it? How do we use this incredible new power to see the unseen wisely and make sure it's a future that works for everyone?